Guys, sometimes I really want to do you all a favor and, give in to your requests and make you guys happy, but there's times where I don't feel like I can, and I promise you here, I tried. I tried very hard to make this work, but this is not gonna happen, but I'm gonna happily sit here and explain why, because you need to know what I went through for you. So in my last Pokemon Challenge, one individual, supported by several, requested that I try to do a run of the original Gen 1 games with Missingno. Now, admittedly, at first I was intrigued by the idea, but there are so many problems with this. To begin with, what is a Missingno exactly? Because that's not just one thing. Most people assume it is, but it's not. Missingno is one of many pieces of junk data left in the extra slots of the Gen 1 Pokemon games. It's just a placeholder. It was never designed to exist. The fact that we could even access it was a blatant programming bug, and the fact that it multiplied our 6th item in our item slot, which was an insane benefit, also was not intentional, as you could probably imagine. That being said, because there's more than one Missingno, which one would you like me to do a run with? Because I assure you, and I know for a fact now, they all react to the game differently, and pretty much every single reaction I got was not good. Definitely not good. So I took this seriously for a moment, even looking at this stat list, which 0 defense, that's neat, that's wonderful. Though I was supported by the idea that apparently Missingno can learn a bunch of different TMs, even if it doesn't learn any moves naturally, outside of apparently 2 water guns and a sky attack, which it just has. Also, this is inaccurate, because some Missingnos know completely different moves, but we'll get to that in a bit. So, I attempted to start the game with a Missingno, but my problem started because, frankly, most ROM hacking tools you can use to replace the starters in Pokemon games, yeah, they have a list of Pokemon you're allowed to put as starters, and the one thing that they seem to narrow it down with is that the Pokemon they replace it with have to be actual Pokemon, which Missingno definitely is not. So I had to find one willing to put Missingno in there. Now, I did find one with Missingno selected, but I had no way of knowing which Missingno this was going to be. Again, there's so many different ones, all with different hex IDs. So I still have no idea which Missingno this particular hacking tool opted to replace my starter with. All I know is that it did not work. Oh, it worked at first. I did get a Missingno, but as soon as I was done with my rival match, it immediately turned into a Rhydon, with a bunch of Rhydon moves and Rhydon stats. So I was basically just playing the game as Rhydon. And I feel like that's not what you guys wanted me to do. So I opted to try again. This time, I had to go and modify the code myself. And I assure you, I am not a ROM hacker. I have never done this before. So I had to look up a bunch of tutorials to figure out exactly how the heck I was going to modify this ROM stupid code to just replace a single piece of text just so I could put a stupid glitch Pokemon in the place of Bulbasaur, which is the one I just happened to choose because why not? Now, this worked in the technical sense because I was able to insert a different hex code for a different Missingno into Bulbasaur's ID slot. Now, to begin with, this particular Missingno only knew Surf, which was already weird, and I actually managed to start the game a little bit and see what glitchy madness it would cause. To begin with, my player avatar was completely just pixelated to oblivion, and then anytime it hit an offending Pokemon, it would apparently slice them to pieces. So that's dark. Anyway, but because Missingno's stats are so trash, I wound up blacking out in Viridian Forest and going back to the Poké Center like a normal person. But once I healed and came back, it was a Rhydon. What? Wait, how did it... A Rhydon that knows Surf, which it can learn, but it's still weird, and yeah, okay. Alright, so this isn't gonna work this way. So I started again, and I replaced Bulbasaur with a different hex ID. This one started out okay, He only knew Scratch and Growl, which is another moveset that's not normally associated with Missingno. But, I mean, the battle went well, I even won, and then it leveled... down? Wait, wait, stop! Hold the... What? It was level 5, and when it leveled down 4 levels to level 1. That's not normal. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this is supposed to work. And suddenly, because, again, I only knew Scratch and my stats were terrible, I couldn't beat the basic Pokemon just outside of Pallet Town. And even when I managed to, I always had to heal afterwards, and I couldn't get this thing to level up at all. So, my run ended right there. Now, relating to the inability to level up Missingnos, I'm going to point you to the next 2 attempts I made. These ones seem to result in the basic Missingno that people seem more familiar with, I guess the more common Missingnos, because they both knew 2 water guns and Sky Attack, which admittedly is what I was trying to find ultimately. Now, the problem with these 2 is that it didn't matter how hard I tried, or how far I went in the game. I went as far as I could until I just couldn't go any further. I could not get either of them to level up at all. And, frankly, that's a problem. That is a major problem. Now, this is based on pure speculation on my part, using the limited sanity I have remaining after this madness. But I'm fairly certain that Missingnos in general have awful XP ratios. Mostly because they were never properly programmed to even be Pokemon to begin with. So, I don't know how much XP it actually takes to level these guys up, but I can assure you, it is too much. And way more than I'm willing to bother with. And after my experience with the one that leveled down, frankly, I'm terrified about what it's going to do. Like, how do I know it's not going to go to level -6 or something ridiculous? Because anything could happen with these things. The chaotic nature of Missingno is legendary. And as entertaining as that would be, I don't think I can get a foreseeable run out of this. I don't think this kind of run is going to be possible unless I can find a stable Missingno, which, as I say it out loud, I realize is a ridiculous oxymoron that will in no way be a feasible thing for me to do. I was hoping to make it my spooktacular Halloween run because Missingno has all this creepypasta surrounding it because people were like, oh, it's a secret legendary or it's a ghost or a demon and it's haunted and it's scary, ooh, which, yes, when we were kids and Missingno was a weird thing, we didn't understand it, that's how it felt like, but there's nothing to fear from Missingno. Because, frankly, Missingno is easily trumped by a swarm of Rattata and Pidgey. Or, it'll just turn into a Rhydon. Either way, what's to be afraid of? So I'm going to do a different Poke Challenge for this, but I did want to share my attempt to deal with this madness with you all, because I felt like you just had the right to know that I tried, and if I'm gonna get something out of this, I'm gonna at least get a pretty entertaining recap over this, because I can't recreate any of the stuff I've seen. I could not have expected any of that. He sliced Pokemon to pieces, and then died himself, repeatedly. Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.